Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry, guys. All right.
you should have seen what I saw.
Oh man. Oh, wait a minute. We're doing a show, aren't we?
Oh,
I can't
sometimes.
even I can't even
At
get over
some
here and
point, yeah.
cry a little bit without having to do shows. Man. All right. I'm Darren with Arbitrage Straight, and this is Wednesdays After the Bell. And my guests are not Daniel Hopwood. We actually have Josh
He's
back.
not a guest.
Otherwise,
I
yeah.
think at this point,
After
right,
3
this is
times,
show
are you
number
just family?
7.
I don't know.
If
Let's say-
Josh is on
I mean-
one more time, he has been here officially longer than Daniel. And I'm just
You
calling
know
it.
what? You know what? He's a guest until he gets on the scoreboard, but we'll talk about that later. So then he'll be family.
I told you the system's rigged.
I'm barely
Of
barely
course
on it
it's
anyway.
rigged.
We'll
I'm the
talk about that
institution.
later. Not going to give away the results yet, but he'll be a guest the next time too. Let's just say that. All right, so we have Josh, otherwise known as JP Morgan, here, but he's not going to offer any type of advice because he's
Nope.
not. And then, thank you. All right, you
No
got all
relation.
Hey,
And then
would
we
you
have
like
our
to open up a
founder-
bank, Josh. I have a strong feeling
need-
that
yes.
name can go far.
Yeah.
Josh Morgan. Is your middle initial P? Seriously, or you
Yeah,
just?
it actually is. My name is actually
wow,
JP Morgan.
That is so sad. All right.
No.
Until we need money from you, then it's a great name.
This is why you're poor. I think this is
Yeah,
why
that's
you're poor.
I have the
No.
name and nothing to back it up with. Like
The poor and the meek shall inherit the earth.
Gotta start somewhere.
Where's my pulpit over here? Give me. All right. We also have, by the way, the guy at the bottom is not in he's just in position, but not in reality. But the guy at the bottom of the screen is Royce Wells, our CEO, and the inventor of Pips and the 12-band system, which does
Yes.
great, by the way. It did great on my pick of the day, which you will see on another video, but not this one. All right, and I'm at the bottom of course, my parents took care of me this week. They got me some lights. Yay! They said, "Hey, I can hear you're doing great down there in the basement. Let's throw you some lights for fun." So we are upgrading every single week.
It's much cheaper than you mining Bitcoin, so it was a trade-off.
That's right. They said I was spending too much money and the utilities were going way up. So they said I can't do that anymore. All right, so let's get into what happened this week, the tail of the tape as they speak. And pretty much once again, I mean, it's up and to the right. It's everybody's having a party, everybody's excited. It doesn't matter what kind of news comes down the pike. It's all good news because it can be twisted and turned to being good news, right? I mean, that's kind of what they do all the time, but especially
Hey, did you
lately,
see
they
the-
seem to be
the-
doing
the-
that.
Yeah. Did you see the seminar Sunday? Did you see what it
Please
was
tell me.
named?
Please share with everyone what your seminar was, so they can come back and
The
watch it
name
on
of
Sundays.
Sunday seminar was Up, Up, and Away.
Exactly, and
I mean, stocks only go up. We've seen it for ever since COVID. We're just going in one direction.
well, everyone,
Yeah.
every time they get a slap on the wrist, they go, "Okay, look, we brought it back 10% at the most, 5%,
Uh-huh,
2%. Now we have license to keep going back up again." So yeah, it's definitely always up and to the right, especially in the last how many years? What do we go back to 2008? Just-
Yeah,
Yep,
If you look
pretty
way
much
back, it's
straight up. So literally go to sleep since 2009 plus,
yeah.
and you win. You
been
win.
on a heater.
That's right. That's all the more reason to buy high, right? That's what they're wanting you to do. Buy at the top because it's just going to go up higher, right? So anyway,
Always higher, right?
the what's that?
Houses never depreciate; they only go up in value, right?
Yeah,
So
That's a
specifically
sensitive
today's a good example. We had a CPI report come out, and it said that because it only went up 0.3% instead of 0.4%, then that means that everything's great, and we should raise the stock market and we should pump the stock market because of that 0.1%. And that's if you believe in the numbers that they're throwing at us or shoveling at us, is what I like to
these
say.
numbers are accurate. You can verify them. Ask them for the actual, the real, right?
They are real. They are real.
Just go look it up.
In a virtual world, they're real. Shelter and gas accounted for 70% of the raise. So, and I'm surprised they didn't come out with, well, excluding shelter and gas. I guess we'll get that pretty soon because they like to do
Right.
blah, 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 excluding blah, blah, blah.
It's never
So-
adjusted. It's always to fit a narrative. So,
Right. So from a year ago, basically, inflation's gone up 3.4%. And I think you've said before, Royce, 20% in 3 years or whatever
Yeah,
that number is.
20%
Yeah.
in 3 years is
So
obnoxious.
So this last year, has your income gone up 3.4% would be the question. And I think for a lot of
But
people,
most
that would
people
be a
know
no.
that is not the case.
That's right.
And groceries have gotten more expensive, and some people have started to get laid off because of AI taking their jobs. So lots of blood in the street, but everything's fine. Everything's
It
fine.
is. It is. Everyone is strong and resilient. So we're going to go to the next. They love those two terms. It's just repeat those terms every day and everything's fine. All right. So we'll go on now to rest in peace. Gentleman's name was Jim Simons, and he is known basically as the guy who invented quantitative investing, which Royce is near and dear to your heart as well.
Absolutely.
I will have my comments on that a little bit later. But if you want to listen to Daniel and I, we did a deep dive, which will be out on Friday for you guys to hear. But we get a little more in depth on that. But any comments there? I mean, what do you know about Mr. Jim Simons, Royce?
Oh, well, basically, he's like the pioneer. He's the one that basically said, "Hey, why are we listening to these talking heads? Let's see if we can get some math behind this." Right?
Exactly. To your heart.
And
Yes,
then
straight to your heart.
people call them crazy. People call them all kinds of things until it started to work. Right? He realized something that a lot of people never realized, that basically you can't break math. Since math is a law, there are certain rules that all numbers must obey.
Yes. Yes.
So,
unlike science, I think math is hard set, and science may or may not be. So, which we've learned a lot.
That's hard. That's a
Yeah,
hard.
I mean,
I'm like biting everything over here.
I know you are, because I know a lot of math is used in science. Just don't bring politics and other things into it, and you'll be fine.
Oh no, that politics has nothing. See, social science is not
It
science.
should not.
Social
Yes.
science is not science.
yeah, politics
Maybe
is the
the
reason
number
that
that they
you're thinking.
record from social sciences.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Yes.
no. Social science is not a science. Now, science that involves math and physics, geometry,
Mhm.
trigonometry, all those guys. Okay, we're good.
There you go. There you go.
and science is not wrong. It just evolves. You know,
It
Yeah.
evolves.
yes, the
It means
target
it goes
does work.
somewhere.
Yes, because what's acceptable today may not be
Mhm.
acceptable tomorrow.
Because
Yes.
it's always a liquid thing. It's always moving. Science is always changing and moving and stuff. So I'll give them that. I'll give them that. So just the last few things about Mr. Simons. He basically was the head of Renaissance Technologies / Renaissance, the hedge fund, which you have to, I think, sign up to get in. You can't. You have to actually apply to get in to that
Yeah.
fund. And they have been giving about 66% on returns. And of course, they go back with that being because of the quantitative. And the only, that's all fine and good. I guess my only concern is when they started making those specific things, bring in all the media to help decide what's going to happen. And so when you start bringing in media, then you're not, it's not a black and white like math is. Then you're just bringing in something else that might, not a financial advisor, but might influence numbers.
I will say this. I will say this, and I will say this as, I guess, as objectively as possible.
Because we don't use media here.
That they create a narrative for the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's backwards if you think about it. But
So it's like it's the chicken
happens.
before the egg or the egg before the
Yes.
chicken.
Yes.
And basically it looks like, because also another human flaw, as long as there is a reason, people won't question it. But if you provide no reason, people are asking all types of questions. If you provide a reason, they go, I don't have a better answer. That must be true.
I guess without reason, there's assumption. I don't know.
It's
There's
like,
way too
hey,
much assumption
Well,
going
why
on
did the
now.
market go up? Hillary got
If somebody-
exonerated. Okay.
Maybe the timing when she got exonerated actually justified the market going up that was already going to go up. All right, I see what you're saying on that. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's like, okay, just give me a narrative. Give me anything.
So on that line, let's move on to the next thing, which is the fact that supposedly my friends, I've been given the term of an ape, and my friends are back. is the next thing, which you may have heard GME and AMC and a lot of other that seem to be in the same basket. And I'll go as far as to say basket of swaps. They all went to well, they didn't go to the moon. They didn't even get past the sky. They went up though.
Oh yeah, I'm
but
looking at
nothing
Bitcoin.
like
That's actually the one I'm going to be calling out today in my crayon section.
Okay, and I wanted to talk about that. You'll notice that when these quote meme stocks go up, then Bitcoin goes down, and then as the Bitcoin goes down, the meme stocks go up. So there's something there. There's something about funds being held here and then brought over here. No, I'm not at all, because I live in the basement. I live in the basement and I know nothing.
Did you
but
hear
I'm
that
just saying,
yeah,
there seems to be an inverse, and there has been quite a few times when those move. That's actually been documented. But
they actually just like literally 2 or 3 weeks ago said that you couldn't back some ETFs by crypto.
Exactly. So I look for that to change, the inverse part. But it's also funny that, GMC moves with AMC, even though it was Roaring Kitty, who had nothing to do with AMC. They moved both still up, which I wanted to say.
It all depends on where their circulatory system is in our band. So, hey.
That's what I was going to get at, too, because I don't believe in. Go ahead.
I was just saying, occasionally you just need a catalyst, something to get that started moving in one direction. And in this particular instance, as crazy as it sounds, it seems to have been just a tweet, like one simple image from some dude who was because I was pretty big into it back when Reddit was when they invented the meme stocks, essentially.
Yes, when the media started calling him that. Yes.
I was here before you were born.
They made it such a popular thing that the term was coined, and the guy disappeared in 2021, Roaring Kitty, off Twitter. Didn't disappear off the face of Earth. He just stopped tweeting, and then all of a sudden he comes back around and he posts this single image, and holy crap, it just AMC, GME. Reddit took a little bit of a bump, but they went off, and it was fun to watch there for a minute.
And costs, and there other was that BlackBerry. There's ones that were all, again, like I say, in that same basket. If we could look and see what are into those swap baskets, I would love to. It'd be fun to see all the names. But my point here is, before we move on, is that this is not apes. This is not us. This is not us buying billions of shares over 3 days and making this movement in the stock go up and down. My opinion, I don't have my. You got my tinfoil hat, Mom? No. Okay. So just my opinion on this is that Roaring Kitty is on the fun side now, and they paid him to come out with a tweet when it did, so it could justify what they did afterwards. It had nothing to do with getting all of the apes all roused up and us coming in and buy. We moved it up to $13.30. I'm talking about AMC. And now it's back down to $5.50 or something like that. But that was a plan to shake out. And I'm sorry, it didn't work. They spent that much money to get up there. They spent that money to bring it back down again. And we're back almost where we were. And that was.
Well, not right now. Right now, we're a little bit up from where we were. So fun fact, right? I watch the level 2 data for like Robinhood. I watch the level 2 data from like Schwab. I watch the level 2 data from a lot of these brokers because I have several brokerage accounts, right?
Yes.
And while I was in Atlanta, I got an alert that someone literally bought $45 million worth of Shiba Inu Thursday before this announcement.
Yes.
Or before this tweet. So I'm just going like, all right, people were literally poising and posturing, and then it's like, okay, release the hounds.
Right? Yeah, they knew what was going to happen. They knew that they were going to have Roaring Kitty do his little thing, because after that, you could tell, because then after that, he did all movie quotes and movie things showing different types of movies. So he wanted to make sure that not only GME was involved, but AMC with this, and to get everybody excited. So and it's the timing is suspicious too, because we're about to head into a whole June Basel II and everything else, and there's like 2 weeks left, blah blah blah, for supposedly more. You can see more into what they are doing, but yeah, we'll see. I doubt that. They're fighting it hard right now
around
too.
The corner too.
What's that?
T+0 instead of 1. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
The timing is there.
And the 24-hour trading. There's a
Yes.
lot of stuff that they're changing in
Yes.
the way that the market works to basically
Mhm.
make sure it does not fall.
They're trying to shake it out now, trying to make it all happen before we get into that. And it'll
gotta-
be, man,
you gotta-
what's that?
You got to get. I mean, anybody that's holding a bag, everybody that was trapped, and when it's been
Yep.
constantly being shorted and driven down,
Yep. Yep.
all of those bag holders have to get relief somehow. And so
Yeah.
you come up
Yeah.
and have this master plan and behind the scenes, and it worked. I mean, there's no way around it. It worked flawlessly.
I don't think it worked for most of the people in our community have said they're still holding and they did not. I mean, when you lose 90% and then they bring it up a small little 10%, just to let you see. I mean, in a lot of people's accounts, they went from let's just use an even number. If they were holding 10,000, they saw that it was at 20,000, and so what they wanted to do is say, "Oh, well, at least I can get that now, sell." But most people are not. They're saying I'm not going to, for pennies on the
I'm too
dollar, I'm
far.
not going to let it
I'm
go.
hot committed.
Yeah, you might as well just go ahead to like I have a meme I put up before that shows a guy in a casket laying down like this, and the next scene he's up like this on his computer saying, "You're still not getting my shares." So, I mean, it actually did pretty well, by the way. But yes, it's like I'm going to go to my. If we don't get back at least close to where we were, then I'm going. Yeah, I'll pass those shares along to my son. So because they're not going to win. But anyway, it's fun. It's fun to watch. Definitely lots of popcorn at AMC if you want to watch this coming up in the next month or so. So let's move on to the foreign exchange. Just one thing. I mean, it's dominating, which is the USD JPY and the fight there. There are some numbers coming out tonight too from Japan, which everyone will be looking for and see what they are. And I think it's the GDP. I think the GDP numbers are coming out tonight for Japan, and that'll give us a chance to see how they've done, maybe what the manipulations there have done, and where we're going to go from here. But any comments there, Royce, about what we might see heading into tonight?
Well, like I said, the forecast that I basically have been expecting, a narrative I've been expecting across global economies is more or less that the yen has to recover. And the reason the yen has to recover is one of the reserve currencies. And as reserve currency, everyone has literally fled it for literally almost 3 years. The removing and the backing of ETFs by cryptocurrency, now that's not being allowed, now that we're going, like I said, once again, 24-hour trading, I'm thinking that we might see a nice rise in the yen, which may surprise a lot of the other world currencies. Right. So I'm going to be watching very close tonight. My only reservation, or my only, I guess, hope or wish list, bucket list, wish list maybe, is that the dollar also stays resilient. So it's the primary reserve currency, and Japan is like 3 or 4 on that list. So I want to see Japan outpace the dollar for a little bit. That should make USD JPY actually go down some.
Exactly.
But it should still, as long as the dollar doesn't lose ground to all of the other world currencies, basically the dollar and the yen should be able to rise together.
Which I could see that possibly happening for sure. And I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm not the expert like you are, Royce, on that. But I do know that 156 was not good. We need to come back down a little bit and get down to 150 maybe. And then, like you said, everything else stay the same or dollar get stronger. One or the other is what we're hoping.
Just don't outpace the yen. If it outpaces the yen or continues to outpace the yen, people are like, well, why would I go for the third guy or the underdog when the champ is still winning?
Right. And Japan likes it. Not.
So, I'm like, we talking about the same Japan.
They're trying to keep from doing. It's like, I want to do something with this and change it, manipulate it. But they, it's a tough game. They're playing over there.
But at least they're finally in a positive interest rate.
Yeah.
Previously, they were like, please take my money. They're just throwing money out like the Joker in the 1989 Batman. Here, take my money.
Yes.
We got a negative interest rate. We'll pay you to take our money.
Yes.
It's not directly related to JPY, but it is interesting to see the strength of the dollar being so high and so resilient that a lot of these other countries are heavily investing in gold. you're talking about
Yes.
reserve currencies. I mean, it's actually kind of surprising. And again, I'm not the Forex guy, but it is interesting, to see those headlines come across where you've got all of these other currencies that they're, obviously not nearly as strong as, the top three, and they're just coming through and buying up gold.
Yeah, I agree. Gold, basically, once again, that power play that they recently did, where they said you can't back stuff for crypto anymore. So basically, they're like, okay, gold standard was a standard, crypto standard is not a standard yet. You know what? Let's go with tried and true.
And don't forget silver. Burl Ives is singing his song again. Silver and gold.
Oh, what are they up to now?
It keeps going up.
$27.
You'll see. I don't have the graphs in front of me.
Oh, don't make me laugh.
I just have your ugly mugs in front of me. I don't have the graphs. I need more monitors.
Hey, I gave you 3 and they're curved.
I know. Isn't that crazy? And I'm still wanting more.
Stuff.
That's just the way we are as hosts. We want more. So evidently inflation is hitting the gyms too. Planet Fitness is about to raise their memberships up, and it's going to take more than just the $10 a month now to join a gym. And so, I mean, is that a surprise? Not really.
Quit.
I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise.
Walk outside for free.
Thank you. Yeah, just like I talked about before about Starbucks and just put Starbucks creamer in your own coffee and save some money. Same thing here. I mean, just go outside, breathe.
I mean, just from my perspective, it kind of seems like they missed the mark. They missed their opportunity, because at this point, with everyone's, pockets getting thinner and spending starting to kind of come down, everybody, all these companies have been, I'm going to use the term gouging, because that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's definitely what they're doing. They're like, me too. They're like,
when they're
I can do it too. Let me do it too.
Grossly outpacing inflation. And it just seems like that if they were going to do this would have been something they should have done, 3 or 4 years ago. And especially during the pandemic, when everybody was actually looking for, some gym memberships, and, they certainly had an opportunity to do this a long time ago. And right now it just seems a little ill-timed, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
I probably was done at the end of 2021. So basically, it's like, hey, you guys can get back outside. The mask mandate's lifted. The day it's lifted. Right. Look at our new prices. Come see our new stuff.
Yeah, I tell you though, but it's a lot of companies having to do this. They have to raise what they charge for their service or membership or whatever else, because the minimum wage pressure that we've had now. I mean, that has to be taken into account. If your labor costs more and you hurt your margin more, then you're going to have to do something to make up for that. And you're right, though, there is gouging going on, which is, in my opinion, causing a wider wealth gap. And it's why the rich are getting richer and the rest of us are getting poorer and sadder. It's because we can't keep up, and they can, and we can't. They're actually making more money so they can keep up and go on all those trips and everything. And it's just tough for us. It's hard for us out here.
Yeah, the have-nots are getting squeezed.
Yeah. They are. So
I've even seen in the nursing field, they're replacing. So there's a nursing shortage right now, right? Mm-hmm. They're replacing the nurses with robots. They're putting cameras in the room and like an arm behind the bed or beside the bed that says, okay, you need this, you need that, fluff the pillows, adjust the bed. Like literally, they're watching via monitor.
Okay, there's something I saw recently about that. Of course, this goes way too far, but maybe not. It says AI is replacing the middle class and robots are replacing the lower class. And if you think about it, that is happening to a degree, because if you look at what jobs are being held there, and that's kind of what's happening. I don't know. Hey. I mean, that's so we could do a whole blog on that.
Yeah. Take some courses on generative AI if you want to keep up, because they still need people to tell the robots and the AI what to do.
Right. The program.
There's fewer of them.
Yes.
It is sad we're just in this like historic shift in technology with the with AI being kind of taking over, and you're not getting the effects that we would have hoped for as employees, as people, working like the 4-day work week. Now that we've got AI to kind of bolster productivity, you would think we could do the same amount with less. And so you go, no, let's go back to a 3-day weekend. or something to that effect, or let's.
Some
There's a lot
companies
of
are
other
actually
things you can do
adopting
with
what
it.
we're doing. So, like, typically we don't get into the office until 10 in the morning, and on Fridays we leave at 2. So,
Mhm.
effectively, we have about a 30-hour work week here at Arbitrage. So, even that basically allows people to drop off their kids, go to the gym, then show up to work. And Friday lets them pick up their kids and go do and get ahead of the crowd to do whatever else they want to do.
Right.
So hopefully the adoption of AI maybe will allow more family time.
Whew. I just that's not my vision.
Don't see it.
See that. I don't see that. I think it's one of the reasons
I know
Elon
that was
said
pie
that.
in the sky.
Yeah,
I tried to. I went for it.
Jetsons, it won't be. I think that's what Elon it was hinting at about how dangerous AI can and probably will be. But maybe we'll all go to Mars and enjoy his world eventually.
Speaking of, like, Elon's going the complete opposite direction. He's wanting to, he's got people in the office at 10, 11:30 at night.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on from that for the sake of time. But let's talk. The last thing before we get to some crayons is the tariffs that was just submitted today, I believe. Finally, it was talked about the last 2 days, but on China. And so there's going to be 100% tariffs on EVs, and 25% to like steel and aluminum. And that's going to go from 25 to 75. So I'm sure that won't cause any more inflation in those areas here if we have
Knowing
to
that,
still
I
get
might
it from
have to
them.
go invest in U.S. Steel.
Yeah,
Just saying.
it may already be late.
On
Yeah.
the wall.
I've been rocking X for a while.
Right.
Yeah. Not Twitter, but X. Yes, X Steel. Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's private anyway, so that you can't do that anyway. So I mean, I guess we're just trying to keep China, because they're dumping on the world. Basically, they're trying to put all their cheap goods out there for not just here in the U.S. but all throughout the world. And the worry, of course, is this going to devalue everything, and then that's going to cause problems. So, I mean, big term, if they were allowed to do that, Royce, what would the world look like if they were just able to dump everything everywhere?
Well, it would eventually even out. Unfortunately, that's the law of economics, which states that GDP, the world is most efficient, the economy is most efficient, that being the global economy, if you can get your GDP down globally. So I mean, find the cheapest place to produce it and import it or export it, so that way you don't have to. And if you still get the bang for the buck for it, then everyone's equal, right? So, in other words, if China were to allow that, then the cost of cars should effectively go down. You saw Elon Musk lower the price of his cars because basically they weren't selling. Supply and demand forces this type of movement. So the more we get in, and if the price, it basically allows for price discovery for a product. And it's like, if you're not willing to pay it, then they keep dropping the price until you are willing to pay it.
Right.
I thought it was interesting, though, like why they would do that for EVs specifically, because the tariffs and things were already keeping the cheaper EVs that were Chinese made and Asian, foreign made, keeping those out of the US. So the only reason that that makes sense to raise tariffs to keep EVs further away is just to keep the industry in the US. And even here, we're, like you did, the point you just made was we're already lowering those prices. So
that's 100% it, in my opinion, because Biden would do something to help out Elon. It's basically Ford and GM and the other companies here that are going to really, I mean, they're losing so much money per EV that they make, and the lots are filling up with unbought EVs, and so we're kind of in a crisis on what they pushed. So he's trying to do something.
Even
he's trying
weird,
to do
because
something.
it's like straight out of a Republican playbook.
but also the ESG thing was pushed by them. It was not a Republican thing, and I don't want to get into Republican versus Democrat. But
no, I just mean like that is exactly like what a Republican-led decision would be. Exactly that.
What's that?
And, both sides will certainly do that for sure. Absolutely, yes, yep.
So like from my perspective, like the GMs, the Fords of the world, they're not necessarily, like I said, because of GDP, those parts and stuff may not be actually produced here. They may be produced elsewhere. And by raising the price there, they may be allowed to actually maintain the price that they're charging here. So that way, basically, an equal split of the money winds up both there and here.
Yeah, don't quote me. I think a lot does still come from China on the battery production, etc. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
and
So basically, by
especially
raising
the
the
minerals,
price, it costs the company to import those goods.
right?
Basically, that means the company is actually able to keep more of that money, and the government's able to get more of that money as it's imported.
Right, right.
So that means they're forced to raise their prices, and GM and Ford are also forced to keep their prices at a steady tick, or even raise them even to basically be able to complete at the same level as these other cars. So, for example, you have a car over here. It costs $20,000. You put 100% tariff on it. That means I can't go to China and buy a $20,000 car and ship it into America. And I have an electric car in America I only pay $20K for. If it costs $40K over here and there's 100% tariff, I buy it for $20, but to get into the country, I have to pay another $20. It makes things fair.
I get that, and we all know that there will be governmental programs to bring that price down to help push the cars here locally. So it's already been talked about and even done. Your tax incentives that you get, but I have a feeling that's going to go up. All right, Royce, it is time for you to pull out your chart and let us know what's going on. I think who are you talking about this week?
Bitcoin. We're roughly
Bitcoin. We're back to Bitcoin again. All right. Well, let's take a look at that chart. There it is.
But here's why. We're about 1 month past that halving thing that basically happened, right? And everyone said, okay, Bitcoin normally goes up after the halving, but it literally went exactly the opposite direction for almost a month, right? And so I'm going to switch to the chart real quick. All right. We're looking at the 2-hour chart with our infinity band, which is bigger than our apocalypse band because it tries to let us see a grand or bigger picture. Notice basically at the very bottom, it's saying from March all the way to where we are now. So roughly about 3 months worth of candle activity is showing on this chart. The first triangles that you see is basically where it went outside of the infinity band. And that basically lets us know it's like, hey, this is probably a good place to jump off. So if you jumped off right here, you shouldn't be ashamed at all. Man, 62,000, that's great. However, it decided to ride the band. After that, we got a Z and we got some dollar signs saying, hey, basically you're breaking probability over here, or nearly breaking probability. So right at about 73,000, it started to come back in bounds. As it did that, basically, if you were still holding the bag, there's in our system, we have our orbit line. And basically, we're watching this blue and red line try to break under this fuchsia or purple line here. Once it was under, if you were still holding the bag and you didn't leave when it was giving you all these E's and all these dollar signs, this was your last chance to actually leave with most of the bag intact. It was still at about 68,000. Well, from that, it fell, and it fell underneath the red. And this is once again the 2-hour chart. So roughly, it said, we're about to get a big drop, so watch out below. And that was at 64,000. And it did not disappoint. Right after that red triangle that's showing here on the chart, that was roughly Sunday the 28th of April. Hey, my daughter's birthday. Why not? It fell horribly from grace and got oversold and fell all the way down to 56,000. So over the last couple of weeks, it's tried one time to get back over that red line with no success. And this time it may actually do it. So this is the first time the compass line may actually get back over that pink line, which means there is a good chance that Bitcoin could have a run in its near future. Also, looking at our dashboard, we see that basically probability is saying that 87% and 76%. Anytime the percentages are that high, that means it has to have a little bit of a correction. So what I'm wanting to see is it maybe hover around the 64,000 area. So basically give up about 2,000 of what it's gained so far, be able to hold that 64,000 level, and then possibly push higher. How the arbitrage band system works, typically, we have to get the bottom and the top above the pink line to get into a buy trend. That hasn't been the case since roughly May 7th. And so about almost a week or so, it has been completely under, but this is the first time it's poking back over. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing on here. And hopefully we get a nice push that could push us even higher. Looking at our dashboard again, basically we see that it potentially has a top out value somewhere around 68,000. So I'd love to see it go from 64 to 68 and maybe even 68.5 if we get really, really lucky. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks again.
All right. That is Crayons and Charts starring Royce Wells, our CEO. And we are back to After the Bell. Somebody's buzzing. Somebody's got a message. Somebody wants somebody to come home. Maybe it's me.
Maybe it's me.
Everybody's looking at their
It's
their
me.
phones
I'm not
now.
disturbed, not me.
All right.
I live there. My ringer hasn't
That's
been on for at
right.
least 10 years.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Well, if we must, I'd like to push it off to further, but if we must, let's talk about the last thing. And I'll go ahead. Let's go ahead and bring the scoreboard up. There's the really sad looking scoreboard. You see that I started out undefeated, and then Daniel decided to join in the game. And then at last, the creator of the charts, of course, is dominating at 5-1-1. And as you will also notice, there is no spot for guest yet because a guest has not won. No
He has to
offense there,
deflect. You saw
Josh,
that
but
deflection?
but
I mean,
I gave away.
System's rigged.
I gave away. It is, and he knows he has the key. So, I mean, literally. And here's the deal: the last thing was CVS last week, right?
Yes.
So Royce pointed out that there's a channel between 52 and 57, which he could see on the charts. His algorithms, he could see that. And well, it's our algorithms here at Arbitrage, but he clearly saw the channel between 52 and 57. And again, this is why he's 5 in a row now. Jeez.
Yeah.
But every week, I swear, every week it comes down to a finish between Royce and I, and it's just driving me nuts because on Tuesday,
it was close.
Actually, on Monday, it was at 57-55. I was winning. On Tuesday, it was at 56 or 57-10. So I was still winning. And then today we go down to 50. Actually went down below like low 56s. And then it bounced back at the very end towards mid 56s. So I'm tired of being close. I'm tired of seeing his butt at the finish line. And I'm right there and can smell his sweat right behind me. I mean, come on. This is getting ridiculous. I've got to study the charts more and I guess
you'll get there. You'll get there.
I'll have to push him off of the charts and let me sneak in there.
Make a guess without the charts. I'm like, I mean,
I know the chart's like the back of my hand, and I'm still getting screwed.
But it's about timing, right? It's about timing. So I mean, I probably will be right next week. There was a Green X that showed up. A Green X showed up yesterday, and we'll have to see how far that extends. But I'm probably right about my theory has been that this is one of the main holdings for a lot of funds. So it's going to creep its way back up. So anyway, it'll be fun to look at that next week. But what are we going to look at for next week, wager-wise, Royce, winner?
All right.
Any ideas?
Oh yeah, I got some ideas. Let me of course, right? Hey, why not? Let's go take a look.
I have a submission if you just want.
Oh yeah, sure, for sure.
May 22nd is, guess what?
Oh,
the last of the Mag 7 is going to report, which is NVIDIA. So it'd be kind of fun, I think. It's a crapshoot because it is ER day next Wednesday. But it'd be kind of fun for us to try to figure out what that might mean. So it's just an idea. Just an idea. You don't have to, but just an idea.
I'm going to pick on someone I don't usually pick on.
I had a figure.
But I'm going to pick on FedEx.
Oh, local people.
Local people.
Do they know where our office is before you say this? Love you, Fred Smith.
Terrible. So, and this is really cool. And the reason why I picked this one, because a lot of people say I'm all over the place and I pick things with a small range. So this guy has been very volatile very recently. He has a range literally between 251 and 273. So there's literally almost a $20 range. So basically, and he's sitting right in the middle. He's sitting at 259. So from where he is, there's a good chance, basically, there's a $10 spread on either side of the line. So just pick where you want to go in, and basically, because I am such a nice guy, I get to go first, right?
Yep.
I'm actually going to take the low
Big
side.
advantage,
I want to take about 259 to 250.
Low side's 251. You said.
Yeah, low side. No. Well, I'm picking from the middle, so I'm going from the middle down.
Okay. All right.
So I'm going from 259 down to, let's say, 255. So I'll even be modest. I give you guys 15 points. You got 10 above and 5 below. Pick wherever you want to go.
Well, actually, 14 above and 4 below. But who's counting?
Once again, there's about 20-point spread, right? I took 5, so that means there's only 15 left.
Yeah. That's... All right.
So what's the low range?
Well, you said 22 though. You said 22. You said 251 to 273. So that's 22. And so that's why it's 14 above.
But I'm only taking 5, so you guys can have everything else.
All right, so it's above or below.
So 254.
I guess
259.
Since I'm on the scoreboard, I get to go next, and then the guest.
You see that, Josh? He doesn't want you to score.
But I'm not looking at a chart. So and you can be right now. You both could be. I am not. Remember, I need another screen. I don't have another screen with it,
sir.
I do. But it's more fun if I do it in the dark, based off of conspiracy theories and stuff like that, right? So I'm gonna go.
You got this.
I'm going above for sure, though. I'm definitely going above.
Okay, that works perfectly because I wanted low.
So I'm 259.01 plus.
I'm going bear again.
You're 254.99 and below. So there we go. All right, the wager has been set, and we have another week of fun in the markets. Which way will it go? Will they push it up even higher and higher to new highs? NASDAQ at another high. I mean, this is ridiculous. Or will something happen? Or is there something in the works that we already can see by the charts that's going to happen, and then they'll justify it with whatever news event comes up? We'll see. Thanks again for coming by, guy. Thanks for coming again. Thanks, Josh Morgan, JP Morgan. And hopefully we don't have to use you next week. But hey, that doesn't mean because we don't like you. It's because Daniels really wants to get back. And if not, then we'll see you again next week. And as always, thank you, Royce, with all your expertise and for your excellent algorithms that seem to work every freaking week. And we'll see you again next week, guys. Thanks for After the Bell.